Hello, everybody. This is Pastor Green. We're doing another Bible study, 1 Samuel chapter 17. If you'd like me to come speak at your church, or if you have any questions, you can send me an email or you can comment below. 1 Samuel 17, verse 1. And the Philistines gathered together their armies for battle, and were gathered together in Shochoh, and belonging to Judah, and pitched between Shochoh and Achah, and Edemathan. And Saul and his men in Israel were gathered together and pitched by the valley of Edoth, and set a battle array against the Philistines. And the Philistines stood on a mountain on one side, and Israel stood on the mountain on the other side. And there was a valley between them. And there went out a champion out of the camp of the Philistines named Goliath of Gath, whose height was 6 cubits in a span. And if you look at my little pictures here, a cubit is from your elbow to the tip of your middle finger, and a span is when you open up your hand all the way from your thumb into your little finger. So Goliath would be about 10 feet tall. And he had a helmet of brass upon his head, and he was armed with a coat of mail, and the weight of the coat was 5,000 shekels of brass. And he had greaves of brass upon his legs, and a target of brass between his shoulders. And the staff of his spear was like a weaver's beam, and the spear's head weighed 600 shekels of iron, and one bearing a shield went before him. And he stood and cried to the armors of Israel, and said unto them, Why are you come out to set your battle in array? Am I not a Philistine? And you servants of Saul, choose you a man for you, and to come out down to me. And if he be able to fight with me, and to kill me, then we will be your servants. But if I prevail against him, and kill him, then ye shall be your servants, and serve us. Then the Philistines said, I defy the armies of Israel this day. Give me a man we may fight together. And when Saul and all Israel heard those words of the Philistines, they were dismayed and greatly afraid. Now David was the son of an Ephrathite in Benjamin Judah, whose name was Jesse, and he had 8 sons. And the man went among them from an old man in the days of Saul. And the 3 eldest sons of Jesse went and followed Saul to battle. And the names of the 3 sons went out to battle were Eliab, the firstborn. Next to him was Abinadab, and the third was Shema. And David was the youngest, and his 3 elders followed Saul. But David went and returned from Saul and fled to feed his father's sheep in Bethlehem. And the Philistines drew near morning and evening, and presented himself 40 days. Now Jesse said to David his son, Now take for thy brethren an ephah of this parched corn, and these 10 loaves, and run to the camp of the brethren, and carry these 10 cheeses to the captain of their thousands, and of their brethren there, and take their pledge. Now Saul and they, when the men of Israel were in the valley of Eli fighting with the Philistines. And David rose early in the morning, and left the sheep with the keeper, and took and went as Jesse has commanded him. And he came to a trench, and the host was forth to fight, and shouted for the battle. For Israel and the Philistines had put a battle array, army against army. And David left his carriage in the head of his keeper of the carriage, and ran to the army, and came and saluted his brethren. And as he talked with them, behold, there came the champion, the Philistine of Gath, Goliath by name, out of the armies of the Philistines, and spoke according to the same words, and David heard them. And all the men of Israel, when they saw the man, fled from him, and were sore afraid. And the men of Israel said, Have you seen this man that's coming up? Surely to fight Israel he is coming up. And it shall be that the man who killeth him, the king will enrich him with great riches, and will give him his daughter, and will make his father's house free of Israel. And David spoke to the men that stood by him, saying, What shall be done to this man that killeth the Philistine, and taketh away the reproach from Israel? For who is this uncircumcised Philistine, that he shall defy the armies of the living God? And the people answered him after this manner, saying, So shall it be done to the man that killeth him. And Eliab, his little oldest brother, hearing, he spoke to the man, and Eliab's anger was kindled against David. And he said, Whom thou comest down hither, and whom thou hast left those few sheep in the wilderness? I know thy pride and thy naughtiness of thy heart, for thou hast come down to the mightiest to see the battle. You see, David didn't argue with him, and sometimes that's futile. 1 Peter 3 says, Not rendering evil for evil, or railing from railing, but counterwise blessings, knowing that you are therefore called, that you shall be inherit a blessing. You know, his brother got mad at him, and it said here in 29, and David said, What have I done? Is there not a cause? You got this Philistine that's basically saying that Israel's garbage and their gods are garbage. And David's like, this guy's trashing our God, and you're just going to let that happen? Is there not a cause? And he turned towards another, and spoke the same manner. And the people answered him again after the former manner. And when the words were heard which David spoke, they rehearsed them before Saul, and he sent for him. And David said to Saul, let no man heart fall because of him. Thy servants will go and fight with thy Philistine. And Saul said to David, thou art not able to go against this Philistine to fight with him, for that you are but a youth, and this man has been a warrior since his youth. And David said unto Saul, thy servant kept his father's sheep, and there came a lion and a bear, and he took a lamb out of the flock. And I went after them, and smote him, and delivered him out of his mouth. And when they arose against me, I caught him by his beard, and smote him, and slew him. David saying, you're telling me I can't find this 10-foot man, but I myself have killed a lion and a bear? I think I can handle this little weak man over here. My servant slew both the lion and the bear, and this uncircumcised Philistine shall be as one of them, seeking he has defiled the armies of the living God. David said, moreover, the Lord has delivered me out of the paw of the lion, and out of the paw of the bear, and he will deliver me out of this hand of the Philistines. And Saul said to David, go, the Lord be with you. And Saul armed David with his armor, and put on his helmet of brass upon his head, and he armed him with a coat of mail. And David girded the sword upon his armor, and he essayed to go, and he had not proved it. And David said to Saul, I cannot go with these, for I have not proved them. And David put them off. So the king gave David his armor, helmet, coat, things for his legs, a sword, things he could use to protect him in battle. And David says, I've never fought with armor before. I don't know how to do this, so I'm not going to use this armor. I'm just going to go as I am. Don't go off to fight in someone else's armor. Build an armor that fits you. Has God called you to fight the evolution religion? That's great. You can model your arguments after mine if you like, but make it fit you. And he took his staff in his hand, and he chose 5 smooth stones out of the brook, and put them in the shepherd's bag which he had, even in a script, and a sling was in his hand, and he drew near to the Philistine. And the Philistine came on and drew near to David, and the man that bare the shear went before him. Now hold on. This is the man that bare the shear went before him. I thought that was supposed to be a one-on-one fight. Why are there 2 people? It's because Satan doesn't fight fair. If you look at verse 9, it says, if he is able to fight with me and kill me, then we will be your servants. But if I prevail against him and kill him, we shall be your servants. And the Philistine said, I defy the armies of Israel this day. Give me a man that we may fight together. So he's saying it's going to be a one-on-one battle. So why does Goliath have an armor bearer, shield bearer? And when the Philistine looked about and saw David, he disdained him, for he was but a youth, and ruddy, and had a fair countenance. And the Philistine said to David, am I a dog that you come with me with staves? Am I a Philistine cursed David by his gods? You see, Goliath was expecting to have this big battle with swords and shields, and this guy came at him with robes on and a stick and a sling with some rocks. So the Philistine cursed him by his gods. Well, who were his gods? Well, one of the biggest gods the Philistines worship was Dagon. He was the fish god, and he's known there by this little fish hat. And you can see the Catholic Church wears this little fish hat. Another one they had was Baphomet. He was basically like the devil incarnate. It says here, Belial is a term occurring in the Hebrew Bible, which later became personified as a devil in Jewish and Christian text. Alternate spellings include Baal, Behor, Belial, Bilar, Beli, Baal. We know him mostly as Baal. Belial is the demon of lies and guilt, and is able to introduce any type of sin, especially those related to sex and lust. It says on here that Belial is a Hebrew word used to characterize the wickedness or worthlessness. The etymology of the words is often understood as lacking worth from 2 common words, Baal and Yal. But Baal, we know, is a pagan god who people sacrifice their babies to. And he actually had the largest Baal worship here in America at Burning Man. And you can see here different statues and buildings that here in America that are Baal worshippers. Baal always uses these phallic symbols that originated from the sun pillars or obelisks in Egypt. And you can see these different buildings here. So God's about to show the world about these gods, that they're nothing. Genesis 3 says, And the serpent said to the woman, You shall not surely die, for God does know that day that you eat thereof, your eyes will be opened. You shall be as gods, knowing good and evil. You see, the devil likes to lie to people, telling them, Oh, you don't know what you're talking about. I know everything. Look at Matthew 4. The devil taketh him on an exceedingly high mountain, and showeth him all the kingdom of the world, and the glory of them. And he said to him, All these things I'll give you, if you will fall down and worship me. Luke 4, same story. The devil taking him up on a high mountain showed him all the kingdoms of the world in a moment of time. And the devil said unto him, All this power I will give you, and the glory of them, for what is delivered unto me, and to whosoever I'll give it. If thou worship me, it shall be yours. You see, the Philistines fell for Satan's lie. God was about to use a youth with a rag on a string and a rock to take down their giant, who was relying on these false gods. And the Philistines said to David, Come to me, and I will give you thy flesh to the fowls of the air and to the beasts of the field. Basically saying he's going to, end David's life. And David said to the Philistine, Thou comest with me with a sword and with a spear and with a shield, but I come with the name of the Lord of hosts, the God of the armies of Israel, whom thou hast defiled. David's saying, yeah, you might make fun of me for having a stick, you see, but I've got God on my side, and God's going to destroy you, even if you have a sword and a shield and a spear. And this day the Lord will deliver thee into mine hand, and I will smote thee, and take thy head from thee. And I will give the carcasses out of the host of the Philistines this day to the fowls of the air, and to the wild beasts of the earth. And all the earth may know that there is a God in Israel. And all the assembly shall know that the Lord saveth, not with a sword and a spear, for the battle is the Lord's, and he will give you into my hands. And it came to pass when the Philistines arose and came and drew nigh to meet David, that David hastened and ran towards the army to meet the Philistine. And David put his hand in his bag, and took thence a stone, and slang it, and smote the Philistines on his forehead, that the stone sunk to his forehead, and he fell upon his face on the earth. They have these little pieces of cloth, and they put a stick in it, and they whip it around and around and around, and they finally let it go. And it's said here that in the hands of an expert, a heavily slinged bullet or stone can reach speeds of up to 100 miles an hour. And the biggest sling stones are very powerful. They can literally take off the top of your head. So David prevailed over the Philistine with a sling and with a stone, and smote the Philistine, and slew him. But there was no sword in the hands of David. So therefore David ran, and stood upon the Philistine, and took his sword, and drew it out of the sheath thereof, and slew him, and cut off his head thereof. And when the Philistines saw their champion was dead, they fled. Hold it. Didn't they promise they were going to be the servants if David won? It says here in verse 9, If he is able to fight with me and to kill me, then we will be your servants. But if I prevail against him and kill him, then you're going to be my servants. So they promised if the Israelites won, they were going to serve him. And the men of Israel and of Judah rose and shouted and pursued the Philistines, until they came to the valley and the gates of Ekron. And the wounded by the Philistines fell down by the way of Shavram, even to Gath and Ekron. So, what kind of giants do you have to slay in your life? Cigarettes? Alcohol? Money? David was able to slay this giant with the help of the Lord. And the children of Israel returned from chasing after the Philistines, and they spoiled their tents. And David took the head of the Philistine and brought it to Jerusalem, and he put his armor in his tent. Here's some lessons to learn. You can slay the giants in your life if you come at them in the name of the Lord of God, because God gets the glory. Some people, like Goliath, will never submit. Slaying Goliath probably made some Philistines doubt their gods and come to know the true God. And your victory may inspire others to slay the giants in their life too. And when Saul saw David go forth against the Philistine, he said to Abner, the captain of the host, Abner, whose son is this youth? And Abner said, As thy soul liveth, O king, I cannot tell. And the king said, Inquire thou whose son his stripling is. And David returned to the slaughter of the Philistines. Abner took him, and brought him before Saul with the head of the Philistine in his hand. And Saul said unto him, Whose son art thou, young man? And David answered, I am the son of thy servant Jesse, the Benjamite. The question is Saul senile? Does he have a mental case? Has he lost his mind? Anyways, guys, that's the video. I appreciate you guys watching. If you have any questions, you can comment below, send me an email. Make sure you subscribe, like, share, tell your friends about it. You know, all those things that YouTube tells you to do. I'm going to put a couple links on the screen. The bottom right is going to be the 1 Samuel Bible study. The top left is going to be the Genesis Bible study. And the bottom left is going to be a video YouTube thinks you're going to like. I appreciate you guys watching, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Have yourself a great day.